you gonna say? My name is Aja Ford. I am a mother of 3 children. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., and I'm a United States veteran. I ended up working with photographers and learning a great deal while in the Navy. My first duty station was Guam, which I had never heard of before ever in my life before I had orders to go there. So that was very exciting. I had my first son at 21. I was very young and not very experienced, but we grew together. Post-Navy was pretty normal. We came home, you know, I found a job. I had my second son in 2005. He was a joy to add. It was fun being a mom to 2 boys. When I was pregnant with my daughter, 5 months into my pregnancy, it was made clear to me that my daughter was not going to be very normal. Well, our version of normal. There's nothing more sobering than not bringing your kid home from the hospital with you. She came home on a feeding tube, so that was crazy. That was crazy. Feeding tube every couple hours. Nurses come to the house, therapists come to the house. You know, my boys, I felt bad because I felt like they weren't getting the attention that they deserved, but those little guys were right beside me helping, like, no, she needs. Once things, you know, got rough financially, we, you know, were staying with family for about a couple years. We stayed with family. When that no longer became an option, I was able to kind of float us for a little while. We stayed in a hotel for a month. We stayed with a friend of mine for a month. Probably would have stayed with my friend a little longer, but her neighbors complained about my kids walking around. So we had to go, and from there we went into a shelter. Living with a special needs child in a shelter was horrible, if I have to be honest. I felt like a bad parent for not being able to provide her with the environment she required, which is simple things like carpet on the floor so she doesn't hit her head, you know, or, you know, just like very simple things that I couldn't provide in that moment. And that was tough. That was very tough. Just her not having freedom, and, you know, there's already so many things she can't do. I don't like to, you know, take certain things from her. So her not being able to just sit on the floor and play, because this is not our floor, it's a dirty floor. You know what I mean? Like this, you know, it changed up a lot. It changed a lot. I noticed subtle changes in her. I noticed, you know, certain kind of withdrawals. I think that's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, was to explain to my children why we had to go there and why we were sleeping in a room full of strangers. Like explaining to my kid that he can't walk down and go to the bathroom without me, and, you know, or, you know, no, you can't just step outside for some air, I have to walk you, you know, or, you know, just little liberties you take for granted, you know. It was a struggle to stay positive. I went to a veterans referral center where I was referred to Friendship Place. They then told me about a program called Families First for veterans that I did qualify for, finally, something I qualified for. And yeah, things really have been looking up since then. Things have really been looking up since then. Listen to me. This all happened in 1 week. Monday, I leave the shelter. I go to the referral place. Monday night, I have the information. I put in a phone call. Tuesday, I get a phone call from Rachel. She goes, "Do you want to meet?" I go, "I can't get to you." She comes to me. We meet, we talk. She goes, I'm getting you out of this shelter by Friday. And she did it. Like, she literally did it. I didn't have, like, my head was still spinning. I didn't have a lot of time to process, you know, that. Like, I just know I needed to go pack our stuff because we were going. When I did finally bring my kids home and surprise them, there was a Christmas tree, there were tons of presents under the tree, and you know, all of their things that we did have from the shelter were here. And yeah, I just let them know that we were home and the shelter life was over and this was ours finally. Us having our own place. My sons were very, very excited. Just a lot of screaming and a lot of thank you, mommy, thank you, mommy. I'm like, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. And my daughter, the little sweetie pie, she can't talk, but she was so excited to finally see some carpet that she actually rolled around herself immediately. It's like she understood what was going on. Do you want to speak to your friend? Excuse me. You want to speak to your friend? Hmm?